Right now, part of your mind is somewhere else. It's rehearsing a conversation that hasn't happened, or replaying one that already did. It's in next week, or last year, or a version of your life that doesn't exist yet. Almost none of it is here, in the actual room you're sitting in the only moment that is real. That's not a flaw in you. It's the default setting of a human mind. And the Stoics found that almost all of your suffering lives in exactly the two places you keep going, the past and the future. And almost none of it lives in the present, if you'd only stay there. This is the unbothered Stoic, one ancient idea, made usable every week. Today, why the present moment is the only place you have any power at all, and 3 ways to get back to it when your mind runs off. Here's what Marcus Aurelius saw. He wrote it to himself plainly. Confine yourself to the present. And he gave the reason, which is the part that makes it more than a nice phrase. He said that no one loses any life other than the one they're living now, and no one lives any life other than the one they're losing. You can only ever lose the present moment, because it's the only one you ever have. The past is already gone. You can't lose what you don't hold. The future isn't yours yet. You can't lose what hasn't arrived. So here's the core idea I want you to carry out of this video. Your power exists only in the present. Every ounce of it. You cannot act in the past. You cannot act in the future. You can only ever act now. So every minute your mind spends in the other 2 places is a minute you've unplugged yourself from the only point where you can actually do anything. Anxiety is your attention living in a future that hasn't happened. Regret is your attention trapped in a past you can't touch. Both feel productive. Both are just ways of leaving the one place where your life is actually taking place. If that reframe is useful, take a second to hit like. It helps this reach someone whose mind is somewhere else right now. Then let's make it practical, because be present is useless advice unless someone hands you the how. 3 tools, all Stoic, all usable in the next 30 seconds. The first is the single task return. The Stoics prize doing one thing with your whole attention. So when you notice your mind has scattered, don't fight it. Just name the one thing in front of you and give it everything. Right now, I am washing this dish. Right now, I am listening to this person. Marcus called it doing each thing as if it were the last thing you were doing in your life, not morbidly, fully, one task, all of you. The scattered mind can't survive a fully occupied one. The second is the question that cuts through spiraling. Is anything wrong right now? In this exact moment? Not this week. Not in the story your mind is telling. Right now, in this room. Almost always the honest answer is no. Right now you're breathing, you're safe, nothing is on fire. Nearly all your distress is about a moment that isn't happening. When you drop the anxiety back into the actual present, it usually has nothing to stand on. The third is the senses. The fastest door back to now is your body. Feel your feet on the floor. Notice 3 things you can hear. Feel the air. Your thoughts can time travel. Your senses cannot. They only ever report from the present. So when your mind is lost in a future disaster, your 5 senses are a rope back to the one real moment. Pull on it. Now let me be honest with you, because this gets misunderstood. Being present doesn't mean you never plan. The Stoics planned constantly. Marcus ran an empire. The difference is where they lived. You can think about the future as a deliberate act in the present with a clear head, and then set it down. That's planning. What you're avoiding is the other thing. Being dragged into a future you're not choosing to think about again and again, involuntarily, all day. Plan on purpose, then come home to now. And you won't do it perfectly. Your mind will wander 1,000 times a day. That's not failure, that's just having a mind. The practice isn't never leaving. It's noticing you've left and coming back. Gently, without scolding yourself 10,000 times. Each return is a rep. Each return is the whole skill. Here's the promise the Stoics kept finding. The person who can live in the present is almost impossible to torment, because the 2 great engines of human misery, dread of the future and grief over the past, both run on your attention. Starve them of it. Keep coming back to the only moment that's real, and you take away the fuel. Nothing that hasn't happened can hurt you. Nothing that's already gone can either. There is only ever now, and now you can handle. Marcus wrote it in 5 words worth keeping. Confine yourself to the present. Not because the present is always pleasant, but because it's the only place you're actually alive, and the only place you can do a single thing about anything. So right now, feel your feet, hear the room, take 1 breath, and come home. This moment is the only one you've got. It would be a shame to spend it somewhere else. I'd love to hear this one. And I read the comments. Where does your mind run off to most? The past or the future? Name it below. The next video is about a strange, freeing Stoic idea that you are not nearly as separate from everyone else as you feel, and how seeing it changes the way difficult people land on you. Subscribe and stay. We're building this calm, one idea at a time.